Hello everyone, this is Tytar Jr. So we're here for another Warcraft 3 Reforged tutorial. And this is the Let's Make a Game series. In the last video I showed you how to collect custom resources. This is an add-on to that, but this is a fishing system. One of my favorite things in a lot of these video games, I guess you could say, is when they have a good fishing system. Now this is a very primitive, basic fishing system. But what I really enjoy is this is the first time I've personally seen something like this. I'm sure it exists somewhere out there or something similar, but I wanted to show you what a fishing system looks like and then kind of how it's implemented into the game, and I'll show you how it was made. That is what I'll show you. So I'll show you how it works first. Let's go ahead and test this. And so as always, as this is loading, I appreciate you guys giving this a watch, a like, comment if you have any ideas or questions. This is going to be a continuous project that I'm working on. I see it as I'm making a project while teaching you guys how to make really cool custom maps at the same time. Maybe you guys can take bits and pieces and put them into your own games. That's kind of what I'm aiming to do here with this YouTube series. But there will also be other games that I host on here as well. Right now, this is just my main focus, and so I get a lot of questions regarding the Warcraft 3 custom editor. And so, like I said, today we're going to be covering the fishing aspect. So let's take a look at that and see how this works. So here we are, we're at the water. Now, right now, there's no condition that's set to say go fishing in the water, so I can technically do it up there. But we're just going to do it down here for just to make it look more realistic. So fish, go fishing. So this is a spell that I've created, and basically how it works, you go ahead and select. So if I select really far, there's a max range I can do. Obviously, there's no animation yet, but I run over there, and it waits for a second, and then there's a splash. Nothing bit. Try fishing again. And so I have to wait for the cooldown to go. Let's go ahead and fish here. And we got a bass. So if you look, it's an item that I can pick up. I'm not going to pick it up right now because I haven't programmed it to go into our inventory. Our inventory is this over here. The fish aren't programmed yet, but this is the inventory system that I have built. So I'm going to escape. And what's cool is, as you can see, I have a bass, and its rarity is common, and it has a weight of 15 pounds. So let's go ahead and go fishing again. Let's see what we get. We got another bass. So the weight is 20 pounds on this one. So we have a 15-pound bass and a 20-pound bass. Let's go fishing again, see what else we catch. And this time we caught a pike. It's 46 pounds. So that's pretty cool. Let's wait for this one to go. Let's go ahead and fish again. Caught another bass, 14 pounds. So we have a 15-pounder, a 14-pounder, and a 20-pounder. And let's see if we can catch the last species out here. Nothing bit. We'll try one more time. There's also salmon that you can catch. We'll see if we can catch a salmon. Go for it. And we got another pike. So 46 pounds, and this one is 35 pounds. So, as you can see, this is kind of how the fishing system works. The spell is custom, and the trigger is built in to also catch different types of fish in this region. And so one thing, there's actually a couple things that aren't built still. I just wanted to show you what I've built so far so you can kind of see how this is going to work. Obviously, it doesn't look very good to have these fish just sitting here after the fact, and just sitting here indefinitely. If people choose not to pick up the fish, that would look kind of weird. So I'm probably going to build something later where they'll eventually swim away or something to that effect, or they'll disappear if you don't pick them up. I might even do a little animation so that way when you do catch the fish, it doesn't just pop up, and make it a little bit more eventful. Like you caught a fish, the camera will spin around, there'll be a flash or something like that. Something to that effect. And there's our salmon. 39-pound salmon. So we have these different types of fish. And so I want to show you how I built this and what I intend to do with it. So let's look at that next. All right, so here we are back in the editor. And let's go into the trigger editor. So if you take a look here, we have the fish trigger. So it's actually a pretty simple trigger if you take a look at it. I guess before we get into the trigger, let me show you kind of the intent behind it. So I'm not sure how I'm going to handle the weight system when it comes to fish in here. I think I might just do it as a accomplishment thing. The heavier weight fish you can catch, you know, the bigger the fish of the species, it goes into your fish book, which is over here. I'll get to that in a second. But as far as resources go and, you know, managing resources and being able to consume the fish, it'll probably just be right here, to be honest. It won't take weight into consideration. Maybe it will. That seems pretty advanced, but maybe that's something I'll add later. This is the fish book. I don't have it built yet, but basically there's going to be a separate module for the inventory where the camera will be similar to this, and you can mouse over. The circle of powers underneath will go away and will be just the fish, and above the fish's head it'll have the name of the species and the heaviest weight you've caught. So it gives the player incentive to go out and try to find the heaviest weight fish they can find. And obviously there's going to be a max weight to each species, but it would be a really cool accomplishment to get the heaviest fish there is. And I plan on adding accomplishments to the game later. If you can catch the heaviest weight for all fishes, it'll be an accomplishment there. So let's take a look at how this trigger works. I think it's a pretty cool one. It's also very simple. So this trigger works like so. It's called fish. That's what I called it. Unit owned by player 1 red finishes casting an ability. The ability being cast is the condition. It's equal to fish. So that's the name of the ability that I named it. I named it fish. So if the ability that's being cast is fish, then we're going to create a common fish with a random integer between 1 and 4 at position of casting unit. What does that mean? So I created what's called a variable. Because this is a variable, variables are a randomly generated thing that can change, and I wanted it to be random what the player caught. So initialization is what I use to launch the game, and I have test format right now so I can do my testing. So that's the one I'm using currently. So I created a variable, which is this X button up here, and it was called common fish. And common fish, because these are the common fish, it's an item type of an array format. An array basically means there's more options than one. Common fish, I'm not sure why it says it's a size of 1. I'm just going to leave it as is for now because it's not causing any issues. But basically, we're setting the common fish of index being 1 as a bass, which is an item I've created. And then a common fish 2, which is that one, is going to be the, we've got the salmon right there. And then the common fish 3 is the pike. And so, because at the very initial point of the map loading, map initialization, we set these 3 points here. We say common fish, 1 is a bass, 2 is a salmon, 3 is a pike. So if we go back to fish, we're going to create a common fish with a random integer for its index between 1 and 4. Now, there's only 3 fish, and I did that on purpose because your 4th chance is nothing bit. So that way you're not always catching something every single time. And you can adjust these numbers, of course. If these aren't good for you, then you can adjust them. And I plan on adjusting them, but I did this for example purposes. So we're going to create the common fish, which is that variable we set at the start of the game, to a random integer between 1 through 4, meaning 1 is going to be, I think it was bass, 2 was either salmon or pike, and 3 was salmon or pike, and 4th is nothing. And we're going to create that fish, that item, at the position of the casting unit, meaning the person who's casting this spell, fish, the fish is going to spawn by their feet. We're going to wait 0.1 seconds, just so there's a small delay there. And we're going to do an if condition. So as you can see, it kind of goes into this nest, but it does work. It looks confusing. It's actually very simple. So we have an if then else statement. So if the item type, and also I'll just show you real fast. So under actions, If you do if, then else, multiple functions, that's what I've done. Okay. So if we have the if condition, the item type of last created item, because think about it, the last created item was the fish because we just created it right here. So that's the last created item. If it's equal to a bass, what does the game do? That's what we're saying. If item type of last created item is a bass, then we're going to set the description of the last created item to concatenate strings with a rarity, and then we put, rarity, and then I did a little color code. You don't need to do the color code, but rarity, common, and then we do a enter key, which is that little, upper line and end, and then wait with a little space bar. And then we do a conversion, convert integer to string, and then random integer number between 8 and 20. So you can range, your fish can range between 8 pounds and 20 pounds. And so essentially this will translate to rarity common, and then it'll say weight, and it'll either say 8 pounds, 9 pounds, 10 pounds, so on. And then we repeat. So if it's a bass, then do this. So what does the game do if it's not a bass? What else do I do? Well, let's run another if then else condition. So else, if it's a pike, do the same thing but with pike weights, 30 and 50. Else, if it's equal to a salmon, then we do between 10 and 40 pounds on the description. Else is the last option if it's that fourth option, because we've gone through all three and it's saying if it's this, no, it's not that. Okay, what else do I do? If it's this, no. Okay, what else do I do? Same thing here. And then the last else, it just displays a message. Nothing bit. Try fishing again. And how the ability works, I basically created a new ability, and I created it from the neutral, hostile, monsoon. That's what I chose as the base, and then I just changed the icon and called it fish. And here are the things that I changed. I did stand ready as the animation. That didn't quite work, so I'll have to figure that out later. But the art effect that I did, edit model, and you see you got that little splash there, and that's why you see the splash wherever you cast it. And then the icon is just a murloc. I thought it looked kind of like a fish. The effect sound, I just chose submerge sound, so it's kind of like you're submerging in water. I made the cast time 1.5 seconds, so that way when you cast it, you wait for a second, and then the effect appears. And then the duration is 5 seconds, so that basically means after you cast it, how long does the ability take to, I guess, spawn the effect? Well, the effect spawns, and then I think the effect is probably about half a second worth of animation. And so that's perfect, because then by that time, once it's over, the fish is spawning in after the 0.5. And then there's an 8-second cooldown. So we have to wait 8 more seconds until we can cast the spell again. So there are some other things I'm going to add to it. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have questions. There's other things I'm going to add to it, like I might do a camera angle shift or something flashy, or being able, or making the fish disappear after a couple seconds, so that way they're not just sitting there indefinitely. I also need to add a condition that it's in the water only. For now, that will be it. I'll probably do a follow-up video on the fish stuff later, but I thought this was a really interesting way to be able to catch random fish and have random weights for them. That's something I really enjoy, is I love fishing in a game like this, like an RPG. So let me know if you have questions. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. The subscribing is very helpful for me because it lets me know you guys enjoy what I'm doing. My channel, even though it's very small, I've seen pretty good growth, honestly. I haven't been pushing this very much, and I've been seeing good growth, so it means that people are enjoying my content. So the more people that enjoy my content, the more stuff I can put out, which will be awesome. And I'm going to do other things besides just Warcraft 3 videos. I'll be doing other gaming videos as well. I look forward to making more of these videos. I really enjoy doing this, and I enjoy, seeing the questions and the feedback and stuff like that. So until next time, guys, I'll see you later.